Hey guys, let me tell you this. If you are planning to come to Africa, come to Ghana, you plan on being successful, then you're going to have to adjust your expectations. More about this when I return on the Eric McNeil Be Free Show.
Black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Hey guys, welcome. You've just discovered the Eric McNeil Be Free Show, where it's all about being financially independent, responsible for self, enjoying life, and empowering others free. So today, I just want to talk to you about being successful in Ghana, being successful in Africa, if your plan is to repatriate here. And before I go into that, I just want to let everybody know that we're waiting on their construction agreements. Those agreements have all went out, so please check your email if you were one of the people who reserved the property and you're waiting for your construction agreement. You should have that now. So you go through it, has a place to do the online signatures, then boom, shoot it to me for my online signature, then you're able to print out a copy of it. But part of what I want to talk today is actually it was triggered by the whole contracts and some of the questions that I was getting. And a lot of people were like, especially because most of the people buying are from the West, either from the US or the UK is where most of the people are coming from, which is, probably pretty obvious. But there's a mentality that we have in the West, and excuse me because I'm washing and you can probably hear the washing machine. And speaking of washing machines, I want to say this, is that initially in our 5 models, we have like the 2 smallest models were duplex models, and the washing machine initially was an upgrade, but we decided to put washing machines as standard in all 5 units. That's right. So if you purchase the duplex studio or you purchase that duplex 1-bedroom where the washing machine was an upgrade for the furniture and appliances, well, now the washing machine, even in those 2 smaller models, is standard. So you're going to get the refrigerator, you're going to get the cooktop stove, oven, you're going to get a washing machine, and then you get bedroom furniture too, your bed. Doesn't come with the mattress, but comes with your bed, your dresser, your nightstands, you get that. So at any rate, I'm going to close this door so it can be a little less noisy in here. Okay, so at any rate, yeah, I just wanted to tell you that about the washing machine. But yeah, so yeah, I was getting a lot of questions, and here's the thing, is that when you come from the West, there's so much structure in place. When you do a big transaction like this, you buy a house, you buy real estate, for the most part, it goes pretty smoothly. Now, there are gotchas if you just don't know what you're doing. There are some gotchas, but for the most part, it just goes smoothly. The closing is smooth, this is smoothly. But coming here to Ghana, and I'm imagining this is throughout most of Africa, you just don't have those structures, those legal frameworks in place. So a lot of the reason why we decide to relocate is because there's less control, we have a little more freedom, we feel, and a lot of the same reasons why we come are some of the reasons that makes it more risky when you're doing these types of transactions, because the freedom that you provided here means that you don't have all the legal frameworks in place when something goes wrong. Now, don't get me wrong. Somebody was asking me, well, there's just no legal type system. No, you have a legal system here. You can go get lawyer. When you're doing big trans, something goes wrong, yeah, you can go through the court system and you can get your lawyer. You can do this. Now, you don't have like, the small claims court where you can just go represent yourself and it's simple. There's not really anything like that. So you're going to have to go get you an attorney if you expect to have anything done. And it can get costly. And, when I was selling this house, the owners had never saw it in person, but they just had faith. They saw the interview that I did on Native Born's channel. They saw the tour of the home, and they fell in love with the home, and they had faith in me. So when they sent their money, they had never been over here, and sent full payment. And on top of that, they had a person here to go register the property, and they had more faith in me and asked me to register the property, right? So, so I did everything for them, and it worked out. And, the only time we got the attorney involved on that was to notarize the buy-sell agreement, and that was about it. But, when we started asking the attorney, she tried to just drag us with money, to create. So they create problems, this can happen, that can happen. Well, there's a lot can happen. So really, what I tell people, and I keep telling you, is that if you come to have something done in Ghana, you better have somebody that you're working with that you can trust. You have to have faith in them. Because it doesn't matter whom you do business with, if they are not above board, there's no amount of legalese that's going to protect you. And you're just going to end up spending money for nothing, right? You just be shoot. People often, I've heard people make the comment when they hear about a lot of the corruption in like in the legal department and stuff, and they was like, oh, somebody may come in, I wonder if they just taking advantage of black people like that. Do they do the white people like that? Do they do the... I'm telling you, let me tell you something. They do everybody, right? Hey, it's equal opportunity to take advantage of you. You ain't special because you black. You think, oh, they just doing the black. No, buddy, they do everybody. You put yourself in a position. I know a gentleman, white gentleman from the UK, and he's a business owner here. And he said, I came here, he set up this brick factory, and I think he may have had like 30, 40 employees, trying to help the local economy. And he was like, it's my goal to one day sell this and leave it in the hands of the named employees, who become owners. He's like, that's what my goal. He said, but I've been having so much trouble. He said, I set up the block factory, and he said, I purchased land down in the cry. I'm gonna warn you, you guys gonna get this picture about purchasing land in a cry. You better be very careful. But he purchased land in a cry, and when he purchased the land, apparently it had been double sold, so the land guards refused to even let him own the land, and he's been fighting it in court for 6 years. He said for 6 years. He said, that land would have allowed my company to grow, because I would have been able to use, my bricks that I make to build at least 8 houses on that land. And, since it's in a cry, I've been able to sell them very good profit. He said, but I can't even, he said, the last time, he said he went on the land guards, and for those of you in the West who don't know about the land guards, when you purchase property and there's a dispute, well, the disputing party might be part of the royal family that owns the property. Well, they'll go and hire people to protect their interests and keep you off the land, even though you have a purchase agreement and all this. They'll get their people, they're high armed men to keep you off that land, and you can get killed but fooling with these land guards, right? So I had some land guards come to when I was renting the property. They didn't come to me, but when I was renting the property, the guy that built my property also was building a property next door, and that was a dispute that he was having, and he's a local guy, Ghanaian business owner, and he had a dispute, and his workers were there probably 6 o'clock in the morning, and the land guards came to harass them and had a fight with him, and one of the workers and took a big rock, a big stone, and bust his hand, so and he left, so it came back again. So yeah, so that's what you have to deal with, land guards. People go and hire these hitman type people and harass you. Fortunately I never had to deal with them on this property. But yeah, so this gentleman from the UK whom I was telling you about, he said last time he went on his property, they basically knocked him down, they broke his phone, they ended up taking the phone and knocked him down, whipped him up a little bit, and said, he filed a police report, and nothing ever became of it, but the police did get his phone back. He said, so obviously the police know who the people are, but it's just like a, hey, oh well, because all of them kind of working together. One day, person might be a police officer, next day the person land guard. He said in case of these land guards, he say one of them is kind of a well-known minister. So on Sunday, he preaching the gospel, and Monday through Thursday or Friday, boy, he working as a land guard, and will knock you over. So this is what you dealing with. And he said, man, he said, so he said it's so rough because he said he's been fighting the battle for 6 years, going back and forth to court. He said, but the problem is that a lot of the court registrars was in on the scam. When they sold this land to people, and he said a lot of the very legal people that you come to for protection, they end up being part of the scam. So it's difficult for you to get any, redress from the whole situation. You just don't get anything out of it, and they just have you running around. And most people would just give up. It's just that he was based here, but it was a lot of people, he said, that had purchased land, and they were living in other countries, and it was like some kind of land auction that was fake, and the court registers was involved in it. So it's difficult. I know one gentleman, maybe this was on my comment section on YouTube, and he was talking about how he made an appointment, how he had problems with the land, and made, and he's living in another country, so to go to court, of course he had to fly here, and say, so when he flew here on the court, for the court date, and went to court, they told him, oh, the judge ain't here today, you got to come back, buddy, next month. And he's like, hey, I flew all the way over here for the court date, and took all my time off and all these expenses, and you telling me I have to come back? Yep. And ain't nothing you can do about it. That's how they get you. So what I'm saying is that we don't get involved in too much, when I send you, even when I send like a contract or something, I'm just sending it, just because that's standard. But at the end of the day, it's not about the contract. It's about whether you can trust Eric and Brandon to get the job done, and do I have faith in them. When I had my home built, for instance, essentially it was just a handshake and signatures on the contract, and that was it. We didn't get any attorneys involved, because I had faith in Brandon that the person that I was picking to do the work was going to do it and wasn't going to disappear with my money, and that's it. So when I was handing him $20,000-$30,000 at a time in his hands, I didn't lose any sleep over it. Because I understand business and I know people, how to pick people, but and he was like, man, I had to tell you, you was the best customer I ever had, bar none. He said, you had your money, you didn't complain. He's like, I was like, yeah, I say, I already know. People with the least amount of money who don't pay on time gonna be people who complain about every little thing. He's like, yep, that's been my experience. I say, yep, I know. See, I'm a business person, so I know all of this. I know how it works. And I can tell you from my experience that, people who just pay their money, oh, man, they ain't got nothing to complain about. But what I want to tell you is just set your expectations when you come to Ghana, when you come to Africa, and stop thinking that it's going to be, everything going to be just like it is in the U.S. Or well, if it's just like it is in the U.S., you'll be in the U.S. or you'll be there. Like, when I come here and you say, a lot of people talk about how well they like my cabinet work. Well, if I held the cabinets here to the same standard that I would hold the cabinet maker in the U.S., I would not be happy with the cabinets here. But I don't hold them to the same standards, right? I'm happy because I got hardwood, and you're familiar with things like laser cutting. Like, you come here, you won't find a lot of stuff laser cut. They might go right out there in the yard, and the iron makers might be making it right there. So you ain't gonna have all these crisp, clean cuts on stuff like laser cutting and powder coating on the steel works to make this smooth, pretty finish. You won't find that here, right? When they're just making this stuff, boom, you say, hey, I need this, and they go out there and make it. So things will be a little rough, and it's not going to be as smooth as what you get in the U.S. So you have to set your expectations when you come here, people, if you want to be successful. Like I say, pick a person that you believe, is going to lead you, and just roll with them, because they understand the processes. Don't think that you can, I'm going to keep them in this car and make sure this gets right. No, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. And otherwise, you're going to have a very, very miserable time trying to do that. Hey, let me share this with you. We talk about integrity and just having faith in the person. For those of you who have followed me for a while, you know that I used to own a computer networking company where I designed, managed, and troubleshoot computer networks called New Technology Network Services. And back in 1999, one of my clients was Clark Atlanta University. Yeah, I was in Atlanta. So one of my customers, Clark Atlanta University, they were changing over their registration system. And it's just going to be a big change. So I proposed a solution that would be radically different than anything they had ever done with a technology back in 1999 we called thin client technology. And for those of you who are familiar, some with the field, you're familiar with like Citrix technology and now VMware. You're familiar with the RDP protocol. And if you're not familiar with that, then don't worry. It's irrelevant to the story. But anyway, I specialized in that technology back then, and you couldn't find a lot of people. So I was charging. I go into somewhere like Bell South, and there's no more Bell South now, but I would go in there and I'd be charging $400, $500 an hour without batting an eye, and they had to pay it because I was the man, right? That's like, I don't negotiate, my rates. Like, if you want me, then this is my rates. So I was a bit expensive now, but I was one of the best there were, so so I designed this registration system for Clark Atlanta University, and they were going to this new system called Banner, which is very popular now. And so I designed the system, and then I had to put in a bid, right? Like when I designed it, they paid me for that, and then they took that design and they put out a bid for people to come and implement it, and so we actually had to bid the design that I created, and they ended up going with these kind of manipulative, sleazy type outfit. I knew the guys from this outfit, so I knew they were sleazy. But they was like, here, you just so expensive, man. You're so expensive. I'm like, the guy in charge, I'm like, Mr. Gambrell, I'm telling you now. All right, so they went with the other outfit because it was cheaper. And it's like, I can't go down on my prices. I know what it costs to do what you're trying to do. It's like, but man, you're just so expensive. We're going to have to go with this. And, and the other guys, I knew some guys from there. They was laughing. They like, ha, we got that deal from you. We got that deal. I said, yeah, y'all got that deal. They were sleazy. They be paying people, purchasing agents, to give them inside information on what we're proposing on our pricing and stuff. Very sleazy people. And so they started implementing it. I went on about my business, with other customers. And we get a call like at the last hour, maybe 2 weeks out before the registration, all in a panic. This stuff they sold us is not working. I say, it's not working? What you say? Yeah, it's not working. Can you come out? I said, well, I can come out there at a price. I say, I just can't drop my other customers because you decide to go with, sleazy outfit, and now they left you. So anyway, they paid my price, and I said I'd do, you had to give me like 20 hours and prepaid, and I'll come out there and see what's going on. I went out there to take a look, and man, they had sold them equipment that was far away from the specs that I gave, and they just left things out, like, in the on the motherboard, like it may have supposed to have been 2 processors. They only put 1 processor you're supposed to have. Processors rated at this megahertz, and it was lower. So I was like, this ain't gonna never work. I said, they duped you. You got duped. I said, so that's what I mean by having faith in, working from somebody who's gonna do the right thing from the beginning. Because if you can get you may get an outfit, and you may have all your T's crossing, your I's dotted with the legal contract and paperwork, and it's still like, hey, fighters in court, But he was like, man, Eric, can you help me? I said, man, your registration is like 2 weeks away. I was like, you got to order stuff, you got to go back and get this. Like, man, whatever we need to do. Like, this was, this was a get fired type move if it didn't work. So I end up just boom, working through, expediting everything, and got everything in order, and even like was spending the night down there at Clark Atlanta to make sure their registration went as planned, because it was just such a big deal. Everybody was looking at it, and everybody came out shining because the registration went smooth. And they were so excited that they wrote me this letter from, you see that, Clark Atlanta University. So they wrote me this reference letter, and I'm going to read this letter to you to show you how this stuff works. And this was from Mr. Richard Gambrell, who was over, and he says, congratulations on a professional setup of registration stations, on maintaining a very high level of system reliability, and on outstanding support for the functional departments running registration stations. The equipment was set up and installed in a highly professional manner. It is the best temporary equipment installation I've ever seen at a university, and it is very comparable to what is seen in professionally run conferences and shows. This is even more impressive considering the repeated changes that were made. 3 weeks ago, the technology available for registration was inadequate, and what was available wasn't ready and would not have worked. Registration under those conditions, no matter what the software system, would have been a complete disaster. On top of this, 6 weeks ago, the functional staffs weren't ready to run Banner. To turn the technology around and be running Banner successfully in these few short weeks is a near miracle. And if you are so inclined, one to thank God for enabling. The combination of firm commitment from the administration with your very, very hard work, integrated with the spirited cooperation of the various functional department staffs and supporting service departments, brought about this success. With this track record, the future holds great promise for leaping ahead in improving registration and the entire enrollment management process at Clark Atlanta University. Sincerely, Richard Gambrell. So everybody came out looking good. So I made the school come out looking good. I made Mr. Gambrell come out looking good. I made Banner come out looking good. And I made the technology company that I used, the thin client technology, came out looking good. And of course, we came out looking good. You know, I said that on the past. But at the end of the day, this is what I'm talking about, integrity. Like, you know, when you roll with somebody, you better know what you're rolling with. You know, you want to go say, hey, I'm saving money. Okay, let's see how much money you save. Let's see how much money you really save, right? Are you getting the work done? Is it adequate, right? So this is what it's all about, people. If you're going to come here, you want to be successful, you have to immediately understand where to or who to roll with. Like, you know, I'm putting my faith over here that these people know what they're doing. I may not have visited Ghana ever in my life. I may not have touched the ground, but I believe that what these people are saying they can do, they will deliver. And it's simple as that. So at any rate, I just wanted to give you that right quick. You know, that, you know, if you're coming to Ghana, just adjust those expectations and you'll be okay. All right, so if you haven't already done so, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Like, share, comment, you know, tell me about your stories in Ghana and Africa. And also, you can always find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Eric McNeil. It's free. And as always, hoorah, ahuru. Now be free.